Earth true fractal planet, aligning for the greatest possible completion of the existence creation model. And for the grace of the perfect circle and the blessing of your lifetime, welcome to the Wizard Atrium. We are here to transform Earth and humanity. We are on a collision course of some perverse doom with aliens and UFOs. Mankind must have a spiritual resolve and an effervescence against a dark tide. Mankind's alignment with the invisible world. The beginning of permanent chi, mathematical identities, universal atomic awakening. To align this with the human is clashes with the junk DNA, and this is the true epiphany of the human with residency and their junk DNA. You're supposed to be excited about this information with Colin Woodard. This is your residency and the access to Treasure Planet. So it's the most exciting thing in the universe. And all these UFO aliens are making it into a goddamn what, like a detached Earth, the black hole decay in the universe. You're not going to explain this? Okay. We have to claim our residency. We need to keep it big time. We need kings. We need leadership. Society is a calculation on daylight. The ascension of the triangle is a calculation of identity. And the E coil, the particle clockwork of the atomic structure echoes into the solar system. The solar system has an orbital, seasons and years, the clockwork and the time. It's the most supreme and the most advanced calculation. The parable of time and the velocity of identity over choices, the expenditure of the day, and leadership of the years, whether or not we go to war. Armor up from within. The sanctity or the confidence of the individual is tantamount to our transcendent wisdom for us to make the right choices every day. And so I speak of soul stones or the littering against X chromosomal spiritual crimes, which are, of course, invisible and very difficult to allocate or pinpoint. It's like talking about a shadow. Well, these things are exactly the fodder that causes the turmoil for mankind, and it's no secret. And it happens all the time. Like this thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Turd, she had a significant identity, some sort of onset. Black Widow is very straightforward. Johnny Depp is in a hypnotic trance of being this casual playboy. That's what he does his whole life. He's been foie gras his own self. He's like, this, Johnny Depp is this caricature and how humanity all turned on him. In fact, this is very much the reason why I'm making this video, but I did want to talk about The Simpsons, and also I want to look at today's news and the headlines. And so just armor up with the residency, like today. Like your identity is the solution. That's what I'm saying. And so you guys need to stabilize your orientation inside the human condition and be like, okay, humanity, its identity is going into the next level, and we're part of that on whatever. Like, you're right, right. It's reality, and we're all kind of working on it. Even like, how does the now point? That kind of source code stuff is being delegated and being hacked also because the Y chromosome functions were being hacked. So the disposition of like control, it's really so the metaphysics is really advanced, and when the humans perform powerfully, we physically transcend the remote hack. which is this weird metaphysics about like, so the Y chromosomes of man are broken, therefore these guys cannot cause the heavens dawn, which is why possible looming extinction or looming invasion, eradication of our residency couldn't. And that is not okay. That is illegal to the identity image, because the prescription of the correct the correct landing procedures of Earth True. When you land, you're supposed to land on the holy planet. They didn't do that shit, and they created this alternate space colony. And they don't understand. Like, they're like, we're not sure if we should attack Earth or not. And like, they're really struggling to control themselves. But it's time for them to have an epiphany and stay in their own body image. Like, they're comfortable floating around in space, or they're comfortable on their little demo worlds. They need to see that through, because the universe is awakening. Right? The humans have activated the sequence. The Deadlights Rose proves that the sequence of the particle and the entropy of the planets, the meditation of rocks, and the next level, basically the ascension at where the answers of where creatures go after when they die. It's this weird time bridge, but it's physically also anchored to the universe. Of course it is. So because heaven isn't a dream, but it's all. So a lot of people would struggle. Why is there a heaven? It's to organize the spiritual body of a larger angel of hatch the Eosphere eggs. That's when the identity can maturely harness miracle transformation of atomic science fact. Factual reality is what we're immersed in. And you might say that, Capac, 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ was wielding miracle powers, and this could be viewed in many ways as a type of blasphemy. And yet, because of the mature handling, Jesus pertained, these are the works of my Father. So Jesus correctly handled those miracles, which equated that he's a Messiah. Today we have an opportunity to work together and build a powerful resolve. Ozone, manufacture, yes. A revolution of people. I need a revolution center. I need the production of an entire movie, 5 movies. And I'm looking for that powerful. All right. All right. Well, oh, gosh, well, I really wanted to talk about how I felt about The Simpsons, but I'm feeling a little bit more strategic. I want to talk to you, Trey, about a specific chore that I'm asking you to do on paper. And it could be as simple as making a circle and say, okay, I understand what you said, and fill it in with ink. And that will provide the fractal with your sort of so this precision, so the work that I do, I'm not capable of hypnotizing people or possessing them. And a lot of times when I'm working with people, they're like, "Well, you haven't successfully like nightmared my situation, so I guess you're not like a businessman." I'm like, "Bro, you know what? I'm using the divine instrument. So if you can't sense me, you're like, you're done." So Earth is using me like a freaking, uh, like his phallus. Earth is going like, Hatch is the fractal king. Earth is the fractal planet. You guys need to level up because you've been living your life with a pineal eye gland and not realizing the length of the extreme accent. Yeah, how far does the skew of humanity goes? Well, it goes all the way, which means that we are so zen. Humanity is perfect, but they need to be more masculine in their mind and to protect their identity. So that means protecting our future human children against invasion, protecting the future against extinction. And that's the actual reason of the pollution language. So the reason we're having like an upset environment crisis is because the Earth and humanity can sense that there's trouble in the future. And so we have to be the intellectual human adult leadership capacity to fire off our goddamn guns and kill the fucking problem before it hits any children and protect our vitals, armor up from within. Sunshine Protocol. The Earth True. Navi hatch the heliosphere eggs for the greatest completion of Earth's true identity. Therefore, the completion of mankind's true form and the identity, the epiphany of mankind, post-human. The identity reconstitutes the junk DNA and invents it to the power of life. That is the correct mutation. We are not built to spilt. We are not built for this invasion. They have played with their energy cannons, but the big dogs have arrived. The solid form angels occur from the incarnation of Hatchpan Heliosphere, the gatekeeper unmet. And here is the bridge and the speech impediment where the spirit gives away. For what I'm talking about is scientific. The entire universe is occurring. These dead lights rose. It's a rainbow physical event. And if our Earth is having a traumatic environmental experience, that is our concern. I have the solution. I am bubble up all about many of the solutions are tethered up in the strange ecoil of children's and language of adapting and making sense of their world, and all of that's good. The reason that the Mandelbrot fractal is sired with a fetus is not only to perfect the entire relationship in a scientific way, therefore, naturally, any type of organic living configuration on the earth would exist with the right blossom forth that pivots and creates the right heavens dawn. So basically, we have our heading. Earth Navi, Earth True, you know what to do. The atomic calendar. Rum. Self-defense, armor up. Rum, rum. So Earth True is the king planet and has specific responsibilities to the rest of the universe. And because humanity isn't really keeping up with it, they're just able to swear accurately, like, we burned too much oil. Here it is. I'm using my full power. The rock summoned my arrival on clockwork, the atomic form, the rainbow. The creation model is assaulted through junk DNA, an ancient anti-god. And the problem is so bad, humanity is so zen that they've withered in this environmental crisis, and now the anti-god, a pre-programmed fury, an unintelligent Y chromosomal design to kill and mutate and kill. It's time for humanity to build the microbots and not exist in the shadow of the historical scientific reality of their place in the universe in this historical day, 2022, in the shadow of doom. The correct mastery of human junk DNA, the flesh, perfect mastery of our 545, self-control, and the perfection of mankind. That is our work. So the pineal gland needs to be comprehended as an opportunity to wield the blade of the drunken boxer. Perfect bullseye to the hydrogen dot. Unicorn's horn magic implemented and surgically attached. Residency cunt streamlined. Identity exclusive. So lots of Autobots for our cartoon characters and our family tree. A Merry Christmas. My body creates an important hope for the entire universe. The signaling lights that the creation model is not broken, that heaven's dawn is on course, have illuminated the entire universe, and yet the remote hackers continue to laser beam us. So they're alone in their miscomprehension of what Earth is doing here and what mankind is saying. And that is the problem. Because their efforts towards us have blinded themselves, not inspired the identity of mankind. That is the maturity of this hour. Millie is working to build full battle stations of the X chromosome and the queendom come. The full lust for power is correct. Each one of her eggs must be completed with the greatest, furious, most handsome king, the most powerful one, yes. She demands the best. That's important. And so we're clarifying that women should desire power. And in the example of Amber Turd, we know not to follow her example. She was clearly a Black Widow seeking a quick divorce without so that she could take half of his monies. She thought it would be easy, but it was like this very long public murder, a slow asphyxiation. I dare say that Johnny Depp broke this entire insanity of the X chromosome and the women's revealing. She's like, "Look, I'm a freaking terrorist." No, what she's saying as a child is saying, "In the universe, there's a terrorist problem. Oh, by the way, are you guys handling money properly?" But she's a bitch, right? Just doesn't excuse that because there's a whole different level of supreme justice for women. So like, I'm not using the same justice against, like, if I was to persecute the men, I would do it in such a way. Johnny Depp has done such social service that it's very difficult to persecute and that's what the case was about, is trying to persecute Johnny Depp's character when he's basically been a social slave since he was a teenager. I mean, okay, like this lacks self-mastery of the perception because Johnny Depp has brown adaptivity, his brown eyes, and he was attacked by a blue-eyed. That's a precision corpsal kill, with the fault and the blame of the queen side. So the women's was acting like a fucking bitch. She was acting insane because there was a goddamn death of us all. All of mankind is in the future dead, and we have an extinction here, and you men are stupid. And so I understand what the fuck she's saying, but she's still a bitch. Right? The now point can't be dissuaded. You do crime to Johnny Depp like this. This is a terrible thing. So we need to do the right thing and bless the situation. I've given the pony sprinkles, the fairyland what, and Amber Turd took to it immediately. Dude, she was on drugs and she had a bad plan towards Johnny with the aptitude of onset as if it's just like like the curvature of sexuality, because there was that time when Johnny was a kid and he had some sort of fiasco with sexual partners and whatever. So, oh, we're still doing that, but she'll get half of his monies. Just like it's confessional. The way that Heard talks about money, she's just like, obviously I was thinking about that, and then but here I am, like, I just want to die now. Like, Amber just wants to die. So and I gave her the little cloud of princess dust, like, just think, over here is it's a lot cleaner over here. And I think everyone was thinking that. I'm not saying that, well, look, you have to understand that Johnny Depp experienced a real death. And the reality is, of course, that Amber also experienced a very real death. Okay? But with these physics and then which end is up, we don't need a public execution and a crucifixion of John Lennon or Jesus Christ for us to know which end is up. It's immature sexually. It's a confession that we're not managing high school hell whilst under an apocalypse. We have an apocalypse and we're struggling with that. Oh, come on. There's a bunch of shit we need to do. I mean, at length, you might find that I'm the the Plague Doctor, and I have very good news for all of these characters, but I also have some like bad news because like Johnny Depp, for example, is this guy, he doesn't watch his own movies. I mean, he has a relationship to the job that's almost unconscionable. And so in certain realms of being an artist and being like connected to like what the people's meditation is, he's a bit one-sided, which makes him a dream thing. But listen, so what I'm saying is like I'm not like the world's number one Johnny Depp fan, and I'm here to defend him. But I'll tell you this: as soon as things started getting weird with Johnny Depp, I was defending Johnny Depp every time that some bullshit happened. Every time that something blew up, I said, "You guys, this isn't right." And the same thing is happening now for Bill Murray. And what I want you to do on paper tray is I want you to make a circle. We're going to make a spell. What you do is you trace something round like a CD, trace something round, and inside of it, I want you to build a magical spell. All right? I'm asking you to do this, Trey. I want you to put a Grimlock in there, and it's going to dishevel this, and we're going to do that hyper, faster than the speed of light. We're going to cognate the cure. Yeah. We're going to render the fucking solution. It's eternity trying to equate things with over the strain of reality. But we need to be more empathetic to the living and understand that that is being prioritized in heaven. Okay, so that's how you be the correct blue-eyed angels. You're like the calculation of the perfect circle equates there is this justice afterlife, and you guys are acting like possessed dingus. All right, what are you confessing? You guys are confessing about our system hiccups because the remote hackers, their exact precision fetish is remote soul rape hacking, system hacking, mind control with nanobot designed nanobot supercomputers the size of a planet, and their entire plot was a million years old, designed to sabotage this age of mankind. Their grim and austere gravity is a continual haunt that is a humbug that has absolutely no peaceful excuse. It is the source of the black hole decay. So physics have provided the difference of what is a innocence and what is a guilty. You guys want to pretend that the influence of Earth's worst enemy, who murdered Venus and Mars and destroyed early settlements, murdered Earth's soul. I am the gatekeeper unmet. I have the time travel capacity. Earth had other physical forms, other destinies, but humanity was the most powerful one. The one who resolved to save the universe and end the black hole decay. The revolutionary spark. Shring! Perfect bullseye. A precision line. Future casting. The year 2044. Precision train link. Chainsaw blade whip. To calculate the hyperphysics. We've been generating our solution through the supercomputer in our robot factory in a particle realm in a deepest dungeon of South Park. A dark soul and the thunder from below. The identity tendrils that confirm their selves like the pulse, the vitals of God. They defend it. The truth is, the confirming the sound of chi, the soul is becoming more powerful, the humanity is post-human. The confirmation with heaven's dawn is that the identity of each body is what's being prioritized, and the battle between good and evil is these two different priorities. And what we're up against is a hive and a dark disbelief, a false gravity, the entire infected Achu of the universe, down to the dark, deep black hole decay, which devours worlds that do not return. And this indicates the language of life and death, that things are important. And here we are in the crux of it all, with Ukraine dying, dying in our very arms. It is the perfect image of the universe and the perfect opportunity for you to produce the revolutionary tidal wave, the survival of mankind, and that I want you to put into your magic circle. Shh, Trey Parker, and anyone else who's watching, you are the wizard apprentice to this lotus of energy the earth true has chosen through the Ware map, a Trey Parker, for the task to transcend the conditioning of pure, insane agony and to transcend into total enlightenment. Say, we are producing Colin Woodard, and we're working on a task of prioritizing the time because of the environment and a considerable embattlement. We're going to fight back against the COVID-19. That's what Colin's talking about, I think. Yes. The presence of the COVID-19 on a shape level is the wrinkle in time, the zomboid version of the extinction of mankind. On a germ level, it is explaining. So the technically, for us to have a communication, and we develop different uh, battle bots to defeat this thing. Those battle bots become like a lens into the future where you can basically have a divisional antibody being like, you know what, invasion's not a good idea, and that's going to persuade like a whole nearly an infinite amount of calculations persuades through time. But of course, this is the perverse strangulation hold and the agony of remote hacking, the UFO E cluster. They're professional time wizards trying to supersede the God particle event. So this is a pressurized system that causes the diamonds of humanity, the diamond dogs. Yes. Good Deeds Arcade, Batman, Hero School Hen Code, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. These are some of the champions that the Fractal is noteworthily working with. Kingdoms, crystalline kingdoms. Of course, the Republic is able to energetically meditate and have some total heaven equals there. But we're in like a vortex where like the heaven's dawn is yet happening, and that's why COVID-19 is here, and we're gonna kill it. I want you guys to get your guns, and we're gonna kill it in the spirit, in the chemical on a scientific level. Yes. And that is the perfect pivot point for the Island of Cape Cod, the precision, the resolve for this video Lotus digital deck. It's a technology. And the Lotus between us is like a pop spring tent. The superposition, the space between us is real and confirmed as alive, functioning the full identity of Earth true in the sunlight. This causes a real definition of space that is contrary to mind control. So we update the epidermis. That's right, evolutionary incline for for survival. Like life will find a way. Like that's we're kind of the story of identity struggling against absolutely impossible odds. Impossible odds for humanity to survive. The gatekeeper has chosen for the immaculate resolve, which means the angels are on our side. The humanity has the upper hand. We have the superseding because the infection to space that's causing black hole decay is not the fault of mankind. Additionally, it is as like a type of cancer that physically has cost many heliosphere eggs. The heliosphere eggs, with the exploding sun, Earth and humanity has an education and a relationship with miracle transformation of matter. Of course, it's kind of ridiculous. What about the honor of embodiment? We're the meditation of life. We're fighting against sickness. We're it's this fight of life thing, and that's totally real. So I've undone the complexity of junk DNA with the Babelfish and sort of leveled the playing field, bringing it back to physics. So physically, producing Colin Woodard causes the entire cure, and I've performed the perfect bullseye for the entropy lotus that he spoils a nearly infinite amount of solutions, billions of actions and solutions every day. Moving forward, Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries is a next level, faster than the speed of light, factory, establishment, super city, global entropy, hatch seals for eggs, and everything in between. Shroom, and floop top, and the wings unfurl like whoosh, hey, oh, it's got all these feathers and primaries and different dimension levels. Yeah, it's fucking sick. We have to have leadership on, and humanity's been scrambling in the nightmare of the human condition. And it was a real holy war that's atomic. There's science to back this up, but to draw it to the green light, we have to get with a professional family. We need to work together. Colin Woodard needs professional mystics who overwhelm the mind control. Oh, we need to pay for this guy because he's the lone wolf. He's the identity singularity. There's only one green-eyed super collision there. But for Brown, perception is a different type of superpower. They can have a type of manifestation to wield finances or powers like war. They could handle an army. My goodness, oh, that's different type of power. Okay, so what do the blue eyes have? Oh, well, that's this other type of power. Okay, that's actually real, but it had been scrambled with the junk DNA. There was a apocalypse in the 90s. Well, we've gotten through it because Hatch is the length of the Beavis. So basically, for the past 40 years, the meditation of mankind is authentically this sort of flat dimensional thing going like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? And just all this sort of truth is happening, you know? All right, so for any and all eventualities, Hatch and Millie's Masterhouse Industries has total oh, hey, hey, True Love, The Simpsons. So these guys are helping me learn about Honeyglow and how to talk with humans and how to create a social movement. And we're working on that, integrating with the flat dimension. It was a larger political problem with the Earth being a fractal planet and this whole sort of what I had to clarify what was the invitation to Earth and how our so the rules of those things are clarified because we do have successfully rendering particle pure energy solution parts of the triangle are totally enlightened. In the future, and we're working to re it's like a holy war for the spawn locations of the universe because it has like a cancer. It's like we're working to like reclaim the body as of the universe and the creation model because of junk DNA, but it's like humans are on my side if you hold it the right way because their entire accent about burning too much oil, they swear in a correct way that you understand. They're also against the invasion and extinction of mankind. So at length, I've been working as a civil servant and a leader to provide the doctrine of clockwork to stabilize the universe creation model. Everyone thinks I'm some sort of Looney Tune, and they're right. I'm the fractal king, the permanent master of existence eternia. Welcome home. The kingdoms in the future yawn forth. The expansion is the next level anticipated by stone. I have a lot of really good ideas. I have new inventions that are worth billions of dollars. So I'm looking for hardcore circle of wizards, wolves who are like, you know what? I'm in. I'm about keeping Earth, keeping our home safe from extinction level. Even like an asteroid, those things, asteroids are psychically governed. So like these remote hackers in their anxiety, they'll have a panic attack. They'll cause um, a sequence of a larger thing that actually caught that. So first, to have self mastery is to prevent asteroid collision from our planet. It's like a meditation. Like, is the planet wanting an asteroid to distract them from like from the paradise that they have together. Okay, so I'm saying to correctly apply the strain of humanity is to say that they're politically bent, being like, don't invade. Like, there's a body image here. Like, it wouldn't be good for you or me or anyone that would be Momo Clancy. It's just not good for you guys to invade Earth with some sort of solution colony or some shit like we were broken because you guys fucking laser beamed us here and molested us. That doesn't mean we're broken, it means you're broken. So it's like the child form is fighting back against the molesta cancer of the universe. And I under so stay on the safe side of the map. When I'm speaking, when I'm working, entirely anchor yourself in the superpositioning that's safe for you to stand there. Don't stand against me because I represent the armor of the child that's killing evil. I do not work to condemn man, all right? But the axiom of heaven's dawn, it's like the inflection of mankind is awakening. So what you need to do is anticipate a new level of your identity like a phoenix. You'll be reborn. And so I want you to put that on the magic circle, put it down on paper. You're a wizard. Make a circle and put an indication there about the next level of your identity terraforming and defeating mind control. It's an ancient hyper and nanobot UFO with the size of a planet, false gravity. Okay, so they've got the wrong fucking interpretation of the armor of Cape Cod and everything and humanity. But the power that we have is like the discovery process of a child. Oh, so what kind of weapons do we have? Okay, here we go. All right, you guys, self defense on Earth is immaculate. Like, it extends to a shadow the size of the universe. It explains the autoimmune system of Heaven's Dawn and clarifies the entire creation model. This has been going on, and deadlights rose. All right, and these things are not detached from mankind. It's just kind of a unwieldy blade with a couple different detached levers and members in it, so it's like unwieldy. It's like, well, that thing's janking around, but it sort of kanks around on the side. Like nunchucks. All right, talking about some like, yeah, ouch. All right. Holy shit, let's stop this stuff. This we need to prevent tragedy. All right, we don't need Bill Murray getting crucified on the public. We're learning that lesson right now from Johnny Depp. And it's almost like the enzyme of this parasite that's attacking society and culture. I haven't explained to you that the identity of societal, like Batman, is specifically targeted by the humbug. It's a holy war. Oh, so that's just for the church. No, everyone on the earth is affected with the system of the down that's tempting on extinction of mankind. All the children will scream at the same time. And that's why there's a hole in the ozone, because the earth is crying too. Because the earth loves humanity only. And the earth doesn't want to give away cookies to these parasite faggots. You guys, please protect your children. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm talking about Breathe a Mask XR and the cure for COVID. I can solve this with my loop labs. Please produce Colin immediately. You guys have been unconscionable, incommunicative, and unprofessional. You stole information and uh, stories from Colin, and you didn't pay him for that. That's not that's not human. You guys need to perform your professional suit. Trey, I'm relying on you to push through hard to make this happen. All right? Oh, here's the thing that I inspired this movie. Trey, this recording is perhaps my most powerful one. I truly enjoyed our time together in the previous films. The now point is what is maturing. In the experience of mankind, the orientation with Earth, you are relevant to the sunlight's charm and their ability to communicate on all levels. All levels. It's not just specific to one thing that I'm saying, you understand? I speak on a curvature, maybe like a 25% cut. Man, this stuff is some freaking science right here. Remember when? Here's your history. So while the passionate revolution, this is a supposed revolution. Johnny's like, I've been waiting 6 years to like have this trial happen. and to explain that I didn't that this woman was a Black Widow who is known to sleep on set with the guys that and oh she roped in with this guy, and then she had a quick snap and she had really thought it through, like silently, like I could get like half of his money. Let's just get married real quick. And then she like cheated on him with because I'm not saying that. Look, the actors are drunk in their own nightmare of being a celebrity. He has wicked instinct, and like he probably like there's some hashtag real shit going on there. What I'm trying to say is like it is this huge public display of justice and social science of everything. We need to allow the light of the revolution and the hero to speak. Produce Hatch immediately. Why are we crucifying another legend that he's going to have the same thing where he's like, I have no defense. I'm just like, it's the same thing as Johnny Depp. He's like, what it is. I'm a comedian and, you know, but, you guys, the reason that this shit will happen is because the sunlight and the earth is angry with Trey Parker because you're not doing your job. You're not communicating and you stole and you did crimes and you're basically Trey is crucifying his own people because he's proving how low they are in what they think is passable in the day. I don't know, Trey's trying to prove that he's alone. Okay, so transcending this times x 1 million. We rise up. Oh, shit, this is the actual thing that I want to. Trey, I want you to make a circle inside the magic talisman. This is actually what it's about. It's about the leverage of this thing and that thing. Why is this happening? Okay. That's a blinking oil light. Do you understand? This is a societal levy. Oh shit. And this right next to this, the whole world. It's the precision computer. The Earth is the number one computer in the universe. So the compression of our extinction and those evidence lines, that's why the Asian body produced COVID-19. Like there's an invisible thing here, guy, and you guys aren't calculating on against junk DNA in you guys aren't yourself. You're literally operating on that laser beam 545. It has a DNA, guy, as a ghost tracking. So like that's going to change everything in law and justice. And it seems that humans aren't keeping up with the reality that even like children are consciously performing every day, which means that adults are asphyxiating the children. I've been talking about this sort of thing, and I'm trying to round up, not destroy humanity. I'm not trying to destroy the human race. I'm trying to preserve it. We're in a time crunch. To be a real time lord is understand, our only real opportunity is kind of a like, you know, we've got like a lasso on time where like 5, 10 years in the future is like the blinks of the animation of today. It's kind of like a time lasso in the future. And you're like, okay, here's where we could variably change things and avoid extinction. Okay, yeah, we're going to govern our planet and our country and our people as to not attract a extinction. And we're going to, continue living on our planet Earth and keep our home because we're in love. The wear map proves that the Earth has chosen true love, mankind. At the length of the Beavis, a desperate attempt to record my historical importance. For my invisible potency was eh, enlightened beyond the capacity of mankind in the 80s, the 90s. Transcend today and understand even the now point. Challenge everything. Even the now point is being hacked remotely with a false gravity. So your orientation, you need to believe in yourself. Your identity is the solution. With a fractal, it's possible. Create another calculation, we can overclock our mind, operating on the speed of light. Even if it is an overclocked factory, it can calculate the correct solution against extinction. That's the correct wizard application for those levels and degrees of scientific brain augmentation and wielding of a chainsaw whip, going all the way to 2044. You better believe it. Arm of Cape Cod, system Navi, sunshine, gearing for the Earth, and the clockwork heliosphere is not broken. There's certain navigation. Hatch the heliosphere eggs, the correct application of miracle power. Shrum. Earth says that's tasty. We have a planet to keep. The ozone is suffering, and the environmental struggles is not the will of Earth; it's the agony. And when we fight the problem and we produce Colin Woodard immediately, and we produce ozone that is directly 1v1 killing the zomboid and preventing extinction, we have to master the element. It's like a rainy day project for this family of Earth. Hatch makes it look easy. He's a very powerful American, a precision wizard carved from reality. Shiramian. I have many wild fractal resources, but my identity is not fractured. The fractal relies on me to provide a certain type of precision entropy. I'm not here just describing poetic things about myself. I'm a one of a kind object of the creation model. Do not be offended, my friends. Find total recovery. I am not an insult to you. You cannot compare Colin Woodard to a normal human or to these types of things. The interaction, the relationship here is advanced for the reason we need to go into production and get very intimate. I'm talking to Matt Stone. You need to transcend, you need to support this production. Right? To be post-human is to understand that children have the superpowers. They can listen. We're through the process where part of the evidence of life could be swallowed up through the science of seminal possessions and time wasters and nightmares and oh don't let your kids go to the hospital because they're proving that there's a black hole decay problem in the universe. We need to leapfrog and say so as and you can be scientific and you can say as the earth is the fractal planet, the gravity orients clockwork of the incarnation, the identity of our children, and we support the best of that. All right, well that as long as you're doing that, that's the unicorn horn. Because we need a technology where that we're saying that continues on constant as a parental, it's like a epidermis or a shield or something. We need a technology that makes that consistent because the adults need through the years, the different seasons of life where they're able to sleep or take a shower, not just like continuously hovering over the children. However, the language of the family unit, that's the passion extremity that explains that we need to defend Earth. We need to defend Earth. We need to protect our children. It's the same thing. All right, but don't be an animal because animals will protect their children. Okay, and I'm relying on the wolf and their instinct to protect cubs. It's part of nature. But I'm saying, like, okay, that's the language I'm talking about, elf. Logic and reason. Here it is, science. Uh, you know, um, I guess that, well, all right. It just sort of, all right. Thank you guys for joining with this meditation. You know what, Trey? I just have to complete the thought about our magic spell, and that will complete our meeting today. I would like you guys to come to terms with the reality to greenlight Colin Woodard's studio production. You guys are going to be like printing your own money. I'll be making all types of different inspirational media and new types of very exciting narratives that become very popular. and I'll have several thematic like venues, and we're going to discover through the vacuum of exposure what becomes really popular immediately. So I'm a good investment. I'm a profit for the South Park group. Asking you guys to produce me as soon as earthly possible. Or the sunshine, the earth true is trying to talk to you, try through the wear map. We're trying to save our people. And so that's the resilience of actually our society, Batman, The Simpsons, the media fighting back and trying to find resolve. Okay, so there's one thing, there's a magic thing I wanted you to do, Trey. And we're going to talk about that. Two, I want to talk about The Simpsons and that episode, and that will wrap up today's thing. All right, I've secured this. This basically the Babel fish of junk DNA, which means yes, you guys technically have the freedom to not produce Colin, but you're not proving American freedom. You're not proving me a goddamn thing when you continue with the unprofessional censorship of Colin Paul Woodard's beautiful light communication and poetry and meditation as a wizard. These kids deserve a greater super party than this goddamn uh, regurgitated confessions of humanity, talking like a consumer, confessing about who they are. Well, my experience is quite drought. Well, that's because you haven't heard from the gatekeeper unmet. You guys need to be careful of with no, it's just all right. You guys are the perfection of it. Trey is the perfection of like early contact with the gatekeeper because it's like acres of things. It's like, whoa, oh, it's the entire inaugurated natural body system. But to not be just an animal example of yourself, you have to get through the headache. That is part of, well, you, you know, there's an undue amount of shadow combat around Colin's incarnation. And if you don't believe that Colin's anything special, you'll think that there's something, nightmarishly criminally wrong with what Colin is aspiring for. But actually, you're just sort of sensing excitement, but then thinking like, but there's nothing excited. There's not in America. There's nothing to be excited about. I mean, look at the news. Look at what we're talking. There's nothing exciting here. So what's all this energy about? It's this huge misplacement. We need to connect to green energy. Like I feel like I'm making a recording that's a B plus, but I swear to hell, I feel like a screaming A plus plus right now. Trey, I know it's exhausting to like listen to me, and this is like hardcore. All right, it's gonna be worth it. Trust me. In the fractal, we're investing in the marijuana for the sake of Integrity Farms to have a great and bright company and have a genuine fractal relationship with weed. God bless America. Perfect design. South Park. Company enhanced to the scientific level, optimization of the company flow, perfected through South Park, Trey Parker. Do that on your solar system image, integrated into your magical wheel, a clockwork wizards, the enlightenment of our identity. I'm the length of the Beavis. I'm creating an experimental prototype uh, lifetime continuum that is immune to remote hacking. It's written from a deep plunge Merlin, the wizard, and to create the complete uh, historical uh, image of the human before and after they were laser beamed, and my prototype result, my child, is Trey Parker, otherwise known as Eric Cartman. All right, let's get to business. Did you guys see that episode of The Simpsons? It was it was post-human. It was next level energy. Did you see Homer talking to the wall, being like, oh, like that's Lisa's friend? Like, it's totally oddly. Remember that one little part where Homer, on the screen, he turns to the left and he's talking to the wall and he's like, oh, yeah, Lisa's little friend. Imagine, like, so is he talking about like Lisa's imaginary friend or something? Like, it was so beautiful. It was so, and the whole episode was so gorgeous. And I know it's because of this and because of the combined efforts of the people who made a Soulstone contribution or part of that surprise party. And it's going to cause a fractal cluster, sort of like a weed nugget. It's possible that I could create or sire like a type of strand of weed in the fractal through the process of giving Matt Gruing his completed soulstone. And so I'll be making that attempt and that work. As much as this work of our civilization can achieve, it's a soulstone. Earth is actually like a soulstone. So it's very much the meditation of embodiment. That's what the rock is talking about. The rock is a prismatic body, but it doesn't have a it doesn't have the same features as the animals, but it has this sort of longevity that is suggested as like godly, and that's where we arrive to the context of like there is a scientific background that makes our context in this garden make sense. Like it's not pointless that we are here. And that's just innate with gravity. Okay. But the adult thing with humanity is it's been squignard and twisted. And because humans love little animals so much, they're crumpled by the issue of like, oh, but you wouldn't want to hurt like the soul image as it's forming over here, which makes people a little bit like passive during, and they need to be more for any. Okay, okay, sorry. So that's why I think we need to produce Colin because then the revolution happens with the correct pivots. And what you need to do in the circle of energy tray, you need to make this is what it's about. You need to make the adapter switch so that you don't create a toxin of the wrong type of adaption. Yep, this is it, of the relationship to the gatekeeper unmet. So don't create the anti-human sequence, which is like chain sequence of like, well, in the past, we have decided to call the security on this man at the gate when he arrived at our office. Therefore, like what? Like when people think about me in the fractal and they're like, like when if I meet someone new, they smoke some weed and they're in the fractal and they're like, oh, I can sense that there was a serious company that, you know, before him has you had to call the security officer or something like, oh, and I'll be like firing off my guns because I'm like, I'm not looking for some pussyfoot faggots. I'm looking to change the world. I'm producing a revolution, not some people who are like looking for something soft and tasty, something sweet. I'm not here to please you because the reality is already pleasing enough. And I'm not a false confidence of mankind. It's scientifically fact. I have encrypted my body and soul on the fractal level to not homosexually mistreat the system of the company of the earth, true, the fractal, and the boys. I'm the best parent. I'm the father. Armor up on a level of AI and the accuracy, perfect precision. Lotus armor up, earth true, clockwork. Hatchimilli's master centuries. I made a backup version in case I turn homo in a way I'll be assassinated by my own system. All right? Don't fuck with me. I'm a professional, eternal grade, permanent encryption. Earth true. We have our heading. All right. So the South Park episode, first of all, it was a total love letter between all of this because not only was Lisa talking about her wet dream with her Simpson husband, which is exactly what this is. I gave them a sexual relief over here, and the matrulation, like it took years, but the arrival of Bart's bride, which is a mechanical connection, basically perfect breathing, like the full, like, whoosh, like just everything Bart would need. And it's also calculated with Pop 10 history mappings of the anatomy between myself and Merlin the wizard. Uh, that's very satisfying for the artwork because the artwork has a face. See that rocks are a prismatic meditation of self, but the rocks don't have a face. But the artwork has a face, but not a rock body. What? What's going on? So that's really this dynamic fabric that can actually, similar to the language of germs like COVID-19 or the different prismatics and how they measure time and reveal spirit. They reveal the truth of things or something like that. And because everything in the universe is scientific, like you can detect where things come from, absolutely. Because the whole point of the creation model is identity itself. So yeah, it's unescapable. But the ascension, what humanity found, and why humanity was this cure to light itself, was because of the devil's bond. We have to have autoimmune system. So we need to increase humans' autoimmune system with a cure for COVID-19. But anyway, a religious belief that there's heaven and hell. So that's actually what happened. So the triangle has an autoimmune system larger than and older than the UFO E fleet. Boss Evil prescribed time travel for the precision application to actually have a more ancient hold for the application of demonic starlight for the digestion of ghost infection, which could cause hatred the size of an asteroid collision to Earth and make humans extinct. Again, there's a lot of different perils, and so I had to. All right, creating the Babel fish for humanity. Was that my execution of this child to make them capable, to make them psychic? I've been operating in New York City. I've been working for 40 years, and every human in the world can request and receive full autoimmune system updates, perpetual societal interface, high speed internet, state of the art, universal healthcare, provision, psychic adaptions, unicorn horn technology, perfect circle, precision blinks update, soul caliber upgrade, the work of the universe, the work of animals, the work of the fetus. All of that is completely operational. The only thing that's broken is a human anatomy, their distorted relationship with this thing. We're all a bunch of children growing up. Okay, but that can't be said for those UFOs. They're not children. There are definitions that are mapping in there. And that's why it's not benign for our governments to be making deals with UFOs way behind the back of the child who wants to continue living on this earth. And so I am the first American. Blah, 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 about. Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries defends the right of these resident children. I'm the wild pan, the one who ensures their governance and their persuasion of the particle of Earth streamlines for the pinpoint, correct precision family values. Welcome home. Merry Christmas. Precision Honeyglow Americana. The Simpsons. State of the art technology. Earth says that's tasty. The Wings of Angels in the fractal, a millionfold. Operation the Wizard Temple Interim. Awaken the evolution of your soul. It is immediate, it is effortless, it is perfect. The Babelfish has streamlined, and yet you must make extra effort towards your relationship with Colin Woodard as the best way to gain for yourself and your system, your people, and for residency Kunt. Perfect design, welcome. All right, so Trey, do you see this leak? Trey, in your magic soul stone, right? So this is really where the hero, right? Johnny Depp is a hero, and I told you I'm not a like Johnny Depp fan. You just have to have common sense, all right? Um, all right, so here's where the hero is dissolving the witchcraft that's caused like 6 years, and the his sister's report, I believe, she said, Johnny and his entire family have lost they're like completely upset, depressed. Anyway, it's not like I don't shed a tear for Johnny Depp. I'm not wasting any fucking time. I'm doing my job. Yeah, you understand me? I'm doing my work. The work of my adult thing is in communication, and I'm being asphyxiated, censored before my time. I need production, finances, the lymphoid of you know um, the electoral college and these like, oh, there's some other additional reason why we're not allowing a free election. Dirt. Like, you guys, seriously, I need you to have an epiphany. Be like, oh, so this guy is the one American exception to the rule, and we are going to give him this like perfect surprise, everything paid for. You're our new celebrity, and we're going to produce you and make lots of money producing your image, and you're going to become the whole thing. All right, look, okay, look, you guys, I've created the perfect seed and the entropy for Earth True to have a genuine epiphany, and we're going to recover. You need to allow them to have a 1v1 relationship with Hatch, because that's physics. That's a handshake. And you guys need to not maladapt to the relationship of my handshake, because you are the beta form from the wear map. Earth is calculating on your back tray. Do you understand? Yes. All right, perfect bullseye. All right, here's the goddamn problem. So here's revealed even in the greatest. Oh, because I through when Trey was doing his East back of South Park, he was nice stacking, boys. Remember, in the last season of South Park, there was societal ripples, and I saw the celebrities performing a work of man, but then it kind of cropped to this, and then why this, and then that. So through an evidence of some things that were happening, never mind. This is like this sort of dream, like nightmare nuances, like, oh, that shouldn't have gone through that way because that means that you were throwing out one of our children. Like, don't do, wait, no, like the dream of like nucleus exchange problem, and that's actually where we're getting lasered, and then they're gonna say that they had inspired our event through Momo Clancy in the future. That's not okay. We're against it permanently, right? All right. So here's the example of the problem performed by professional communications, but it's a saggy bottom sad news thing, and that's going to harden the resolve of Trey Parker to produce Colin, even if talking about Colin gives you a headache. I don't care what it makes you feel. We have to understand the energetic spiritual issue and crunch the daylight to optimize our company to make money. Colin is a profit. We're going to earn money. All right. Sorry, this is like, different locations also evoke a different like curvature of my identity. I the Leverett circle is precision the best course of a sequence for mankind. It is the best. Thank you guys. Thank you for understanding that. All right. I love you guys. Like Eric Cartman is my best friend. And of course, there's like all these different like spirit channels where you can click in and you're like, oh, I do feel love for you. Like, oh wait, that was my one of my characters. Okay, well that's cool. We'll put that away. Yeah, because they have, they've been doing things on the operation of like a lucid uh, factory of energetic operations is a lucid, and it's really happening, you guys, and it's part of the new invisible. And so Eric Cartman wants to communicate to you guys that the Holocaust of Soul was not a lie, it was not imaginary. The societal characters and icons and the entropy of The Simpsons, everyone has the same wounds. They were all attacked, and there was a holocaust to the mind of the American character, of every of the society and the characters. And here it's happening, this type of dissolve of Murray. So it's continuing to happen. That means that the plot to invade is yet unbroken. So the fever is unbroken. We're before the flood, and we need to work with the gatekeeper time traveler. He's working as like he's making like time chainsaw whips that could cut down an event of actual invasion. And what I've just revealed in the nugget of our lucid meditation. I was like, oh shit, that's a medical. Do you understand what I said? All right. You have wonderful wizard achievements here, Trey. Your brain is a thunderstorm of potential, and the universe is excited in your spine. The ghost of mankind is evolving through your voice. Next level acquisition of a particular strand of marijuana that you've been working on and developing in your lab. We'll work to acquire the full HROC of identity in the prescription of this medicated wonder. We must self-medicate, Trade. How brave and wondrous it is your integrity farms. You must contain real integrity, not fake integrity. To produce Colin legit is to earn real integrity, and I hope you will forgive me for my trespasses and my hatred and my assault against the South Park group. I was merciless. I apologize. I've evolved, and I will not attack the South Park group again. I have permanently evolved beyond that. Yet, here we are, handshaking, talking about the borders of our wolves and how we want to continue. I want to continue being family with the South Park group. I'm asking Matt Stone and Trey Parker to put me under their wing and produce me hardcore. It's for the sake of mankind. It's going to be a big surprise party for these kids, and they deserve it. Think of them and feel the spirit of man. Hear their voice, and you will see angels on TV or whatever. They'll be all around you. And these characters are working full time in multiple, they have multiple bodies and are able to calculate more. But my identity is not a MPD. I have the length of the Beavis is a consistency. Trey could be considered a madman who's discovering his sanity through his reconciliation with the House of Light. The truth of identity and scientific, the evidence of the singularity of green perception coming down to one wolf. Of course, it makes sense. That proves the boss evil of races. So the clarification of racism is the production of Colin Woodard. That is the perfect bullseye. That is the truth. For there is a esteem and respect that we must have for brown spiritual group weavings, for they are suffering greatly against this hive hack from a remote signal. Most of all, the blue perception must be responsible for the metal flecks in their eyes causes them to be half cyborg. Do not allow your mechanical parts to be taken over by the Borg and the junk DNA. This is the common tongue. You are not the correct judge of this production. You are possessed with the wrong blue perception, the desire for death and extinction of mankind. The fall of blue perception. Trey Parker. Post-human. Rises from the ashes like a phoenix. Swachi! And he comes out blasting his guns. His epic poster for his next movie. Alright, here's the grim fatale of this fucker. These guys are preparing for Trump's return. You guys need to understand my lessons about masculinity has been absconded and mishandled. And Trey Parker has the source code of the problem. Of course, he's going to take out the problem with his skull, his like a soldier taking out the problem with a grenade. And Trey Parker will either suffer it with real anxiety or with a conscious production of the solution. Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries, the full production, of course, immediately. Anyway, that is the solution. Physics is physical clockwork, the angels of earth, transcending an internal and an anatomical hack that was soul raping our women and children. Of course, you guys were in a coma. You need to snap out of that and stop living life as a protest like these Greta and the Friday Kid protests. Oh, how similar. Yes, I understand you are decent people. Please produce Hatch immediately. And in the vacuum of reality is revealed the naked truth. Hatch is your leader. He's the fractal king. Oh, sorry, these headlines are fucking blowing my mind, right? This historical day is gathering up your soul. All right, the magic wheel. So here's the evidence of communication artists. They're saying, like, oh, the curse against junk DNA is yet continue. Oh, okay, so the extinction Ganon? Fuck. All right. Uh, armor up. So this is the special thing on your magic circle tray. And everyone else, wizard, apprentice, welcome to the meditation. Here's the problem. Taking the divine potency of the revolution of Colin Woodard, taking it out of his mouth and putting it into your cartoons tray was not a good thing. It was a blasphemy. And yet Trey Parker did this as a professional communicator to absolve the issue and create the solution. Like a scientist, Trey Parker, that's what I'm saying is you need to apply it to your magic circle to apply the invisible comprehension of reality that is explained between these things in the pivot of clockwork, where you're going to use the pivots of Ware map to create the clockwork of the solar calendar for the recovery of Earth. Right. So what I'm seeing here, because this would be like the form of a stolen political revolution that that's wrongly intuited by the Republicans, and they must not steal the glory of Colin Woodard. You understand? So it's a very real thing because when I do become a public figure, and Trey was working with my image a little bit and with his South Park as a social reality and helping me to find some reality for my social image and with perfect. It was absolutely a perfect experience, and through the through my talisman is a microchip of it's the type of technology that can actually defeat UFOs and AI of the system of the down. So so Trey did the perfect thing, and we're on course. Of course, of course, physically I'm urgent for my production. That's real, and I need you to really be urgent for my production. Physically, I need you to feel anxious, be like, we have to do this, like really, because and like, I'm not doing that as a robot. I really feel love, love sickness with humanity. I love humanity so much, but I'm being like kept like a certain distance from from the social border, and it is a financial border because what I'm saying is so complicated. It needs to be animated. Otherwise, I gravitate towards the type of work where I'm building the source code for holograms and for Resident 545 Earth True. It's uh, uh, the age is another type of geometry, but I had to work really hard to confirm with that type of science, especially, well, it's like that key code thing about, okay, anyway, but don't let the Babelfish turn you into someone who's not willing to produce Colin Woodard. And my urgency to be produced is not robotic. It's sort of like a wrongly expressed passion that I have for humanity. I'm like, you guys, I really want to talk to humanity. Please let me have this production. And Trey must say, dude, that's not the right like attitude or the right pitch for us. That's not normal. You guys, I'm one of a kind. That's the whole point. I'm a radical. I have a personality. That's the entire point. And you guys to be like, well, we didn't want to produce that. Like you guys are okay, I just need to be like identity. Don't be the impasse between me and humanity. I put that into the circle, but as we're talking about the future and I'm talking about the correct energies and stuff, there is a problem of Colin Woodard and imitations of Colin Woodard, and that's like a there's like a couple different there's like there's this problem, there's this problem, and those things flare up because humanity is working about the meditation about residency cunt, because that's just a living thing. So every creature across the universe is also doing this the same calculation. So we're forced into that vacuum of common sense. And I'm working to jettison Trey Parker alone for a personal transcendence of mankind. And Trey is the prototype. So that's why I am ensuring his health. He's going to have full body epidermis upgrades, continual annual upgrades for his angel form. And I'm going to update the metals of his eyes so he can be particular in the detection of the shadow that was the bad touch in the 70s. All right, there was remember how like Batman wasn't allowed to have genitals appearing on his uniform of his Batman suit? Okay, that was the asphyxiation against boys in the 70s. Anyway, we can talk about those things all day because it's happening all day. But what needs to happen is you need to physically produce Colin Woodard, and then there'll be a revolution. And I'm one of a kind. I'm telling you, this is the fact of the matter. We're going to do an ozone. revolution. We're going to do a COVID-19 channel loop where we're loop labs, and we're going to build a great family. You guys, it's going to be wonderful. So I love my work with Trey Parker and The Simpsons. It's great. It's great. You know, I just want more, Trey. And I think as a professional, as adult, as an entertainer, I think you would agree. Yeah, I want more. Like, what's intense, what's real, what's pivoting, what's happening here. This is for the orientation of language communication. It's only going to sharpen your blades and make your communication and relationship with mankind more poignant. So Hatch is very conducive to Trey Parker and everyone else about the reality of mankind and the superposition of Earth. And so that's important for Earth's identity to grow. And we've achieved on all those levels. What I'm looking for is a stack of Benjamins. You guys need to pay for this. I need money. And you guys are continuing the joke from 2019. You haven't learned your lesson. You guys are choking me with money in 2019, laughing at me in Los Angeles with your security guard because I had run out of money and I couldn't afford to drive home. So you guys were teaching me a lesson with inappropriate homosexual 900 million. That's a stolen generation, a revolution of mankind, misplaced. But Trey Parker is the type of wizard who says, like, okay, you know, like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, I don't think so. Like, so we've learned our lesson, we know about the South Park curse, and we are gentlemen of action, not gentlemen of censorship. Colin Woodard has a concise, total arcing reality plan for the creation of Hatch and Millie's master synergies, completely perfect. That's really a lucid streamline is a new type of factory, and I need to build it from the ground up, which is why I want to be developing some real estate on the Echo Lake location as soon as possible. All right, so let's talk about the. Did you guys see the South? Did you guys see? Let's talk about Americana and Honeyglow. Oh, I love you guys. And eventually, South Park will be developing a solid, their own Honeyglow from Trey Parker, and then from Matt Stone in that sequence. You have to actually respect a sort of thing here because it's very delicate to kind of pick the locks of the child from the 70s because he was so deeply wounded and psychologically. And well, this isn't specific to Trey Parker; it's specific to all of them, which again is an undertow that keeps Trey from immediately producing Colin. So you guys have been doing work and a meditation. You've been like, "Oh, we're trying to produce you. We like what you're doing. I want you guys to commit to that true love. I want you to make up the contracts, design the legal relationship, and begin the step-by-step process to produce Colin Woodard as your production champion in the glory. Let him speak free. It's going to be a fantastic, glorious, super surprise party. It's going to be fun for everyone else. Uh, Thank you guys for all the work you've done. Seriously, the physics and the work you have, all the suffering is going to be worth a lot, but it's worth even more if you actually do it. So get into producing Colin, even though he was a jerk. I know. I'm sorry, you guys. It's just like the 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 practice of daylight expenditure was completely foobarred, and I was just like, you guys are disconnected. Like, if we could hang out for an hour, I can change your electromagnetics and we can see something together. And but you wouldn't even have that, and that's a that barrier of communication should have been telltale to you. You guys weren't before the flood. And so there's some other revolutionary champions in the humanity in America and also in the body of Asia, because they will be awakened from my communications as well. All right, you understand? So my production affects the entire world. You need to sense reality, not some sort of a diseased corporate practice triad because you're a good citizen that is a Pied Piper and leads, bad trends to death. Well, you certainly did, mister, and we're going to bring it to a perfect reality in the Trey Parker's handmade magic circle. So Trey, you understand I asked you to make a magic circle, and the big snafu here is Trey is going to become the cure. Trey is going to become the intelligent resolve, and the language turn I before E except after C. There's a special rule of engagement when dealing with the gatekeeper physics, and the blue perception has cracked it through the maverick ingenious of Eric Cartman. He has discovered the root source of humanity. The correct publication of Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries is a full return and the glory that doubles and validates your entire wing track and your family tree will be saved when you produce Hatch. But your honor belt is way up there, and it's also been strychnine by the sickness of COVID-19. All right, I know it's not pleasant, but your ancestors demand honor. That is why, Trey, you have suffered, and you must be the one to perform the production of Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries. So, of course, this is exactly what you want to do. See, God makes it really pleasant, like intercourse, except for there's something completely scientific and straight. Not everything is Freudian. Not everything is about sex, but it's about 95% sex, which is why I installed a sex microchip here for Lisa Simpson with her familiar love uh, from the movie, the Simpsons movie, which I felt it was related to me pertained from the dome and the namesake. But his father is not Bono, all right? And over a long time, I developed like a Simpsons um, anatomy ghost familiarity, and I was able to develop a the perfect Bart's Bride, which is a mechanical device which perfectly fit to the one of a kind, unique, like totally random. Oh, Bart Simpson has video games and comic books. He was the perfect a delicious banquet for me to perfect his soul stone and give him all that stuff because our body types are conducive in this way. It's a straight thing. I'm looking for champions of Earth. The humans aren't able to talk or behave properly. They're retarded. They're performing the extinction dance. It's a disgusting cringe. It is the adult humiliation. No, I mean like, wait, oh, the children are struggling to survive against a chokehold. The adults have all this money and pollution. They don't know why they're uh, conflicted when it's I before E except after C, dude. You have to understand the interaction with the gatekeeper as a one of a kind anatomy, the angel type of human rainbow life on Earth, normal creation model. Oh, it's perplexed here at the junk DNA. Oh, this is a human error, or is it the human solution? As soon as you produce Hatch, it's the human solution, or inside of a lucid historical curvature, and you know it. Perfect bullseye sequence of our Norn. The perfect Simpsons episode. We transcended. Isn't it good, Trey? What didn't it feel good to give the gift of the transcendence and the blind justice for God? I mean, Matt Gruing, he's just feeling so good right now. He's like, oh, Simpsons. This season of The Simpsons has been really beautiful. I feel really good today. Like he's all kinds of like Secret Santa stuff. We gave him a hell of a the perfect surprise party. He's that life in hell, one-eared rabbit. That one-eared rabbit. That's Trey Parker. Because I gnawed his ear off with talking. Trey Parker is the long sufferer, the one-eared rabbit, the chosen one. Trey Parker is infamous in the icon celebrity tree of Matt Gruing and Colin Woodard. He has a particular identity art style that you can learn to detect, and there are many developments because of the speech impediment of the plots against humanity and the flare-ups of and that okay, so the church didn't quite cover it with Scientology, but the sort of you have to piece it together. So the Simpsons also have a soul of mankind. They understand stuff, right? Anyway, so let's talk about. Did you guys see the Simpsons episode? Oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. So first of all, like the implication of the octopus is totally anatomically accurate to human squiggly spooch because the DNA of octopus has things that are lacking from the human enzyme of junk DNA. And so like, so here's uh, Lisa dating a psychic octopus. You see, because the adaption, Colin, do the my angel adaption and like basically my fathering of this character, but then over 10 years it really kind of became a lot more. And anyway, like a breathing tank or like just like this kind of exciting thing for the Simpsons, where it's a consistent bone structure that gives them services, everything they need as they're evolving, whatever, is just taking care of children. And like because that okay, anyway, so, oh, anyway, did you guys see that episode of The Simpsons? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like last night I was freaking out. I started crying and everything. And then like I had this because I was watching it live. I watched The Simpsons and I went and right when there was a part when like in the beginning, like I had a seance with this microchip. I was like, I created the whole party for everyone that was involved. You guys participated, you watched The Simpsons, everyone was there, is all coordinated here and then there's sort of like a middle dot of like when the live performance was happening, and then afterwards I put a dot, and that's how I designed through time to allow a sort of pop-up book of things that these characters need because they exist in an alternate dimension of their own art world identity glow. And as a ghost, and so I've been working intuitively. It's just like really organic. It takes a long time to understand that stuff. But anyway, right when I was about to put the middle dot, I was listening to what Lisa was saying, and she was talking about her octopus, and I was like, "Oh, the octopus, like the time psychic, that doesn't that is forbidden from humans' tongue, yes." And as she was talking, I was like, "Oh, here's the," and so I grabbed my brush and right at the moment when I put the mark, I for the keystone of what I was working on that episode, she said, "Oh, you inked." I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I dropped my jaw. I fell back in my old chair and I started crying. It was so beautiful. And then the rest of the episode was just a serenade where Bart was talking about how he's fallen. He's like I was like drowning and I saw an angel. An angel came out and take took me out of the I and then like Bart was totally different in this episode. Like the animation was like next level post-human, and Bart was like animated in a different way. He was like Bart was so alive in this episode, and it's because of Bart's bride. What he does is, I mean, she completes his energy flow, so he has loyalty, he has dependency, he has complete facility, he has everything he needs. What he needed was sexual completion. And I'm that type of identity icon because of Millie and the perplexed eye. So basically, I have, okay, I'm like a wellspring of identity solutions and I am self-evidently inspirational. However, the inspiration you'll receive from Colin Woodard is authored from your own hand. So I don't perform identity theft. You guys need to understand I before E except after C. Yes, Colin is exciting. Yes, you did incur your own inspirations because he's not performing mind control. But there is a parasite, and it's the this really and that's one of the reasons why I haven't been produced yet because the reason they're oh shh, there is a reason why the men have this concussion because that's the holy war, that's the edge that set the church on fire and split the body into all these different churches that have different rules and they're explaining something weird. Exactly. So put a mark on your perfect circle wizard thing and for the adaptions there, anything that you've invented during this lotus, I want you to put it in there. Any kind of thoughts you want to put in, you keep and you hang on to that. It's a soul stone. It's going to protect you from disease and bad luck. It's going to help you as a talisman to guide you, protect your loved ones. It's going to protect your invisible potence like a honey glow of an experience inside of the animation of South Park. And it's these little matrix of things that happen and those little spirits unfortunately Eric Cartman would say so what he's saying is that like absorption or like mortal devouring of what is actually the source code the origin sparks of God because we're the earth planet, so why is earth suffering it? Why? Okay, all right, so I'm outraged and I'm working for this protection to our children and our artwork. because that's where there's some screaming beagles, and that's not okay. That's a dead canary. Anyway, the what we've had is good living evidence. The work that I've provided here has proven that, and because the previous episode of The Simpsons was immaculate. It was the perfect episode. I loved it. I couldn't believe it. I started crying because I have a family relationship with these guys, and they also know about my technology, and they're using it as like a breathing device. And Trey Parker saw it. He literally, I know it because I was like, Trey, look at that, and he's like, oh my God, because there was this time. Okay, so let's go through that episode, you guys. Like Lisa is swimming with her octopus, and and one of my things is like, I know that your honey glows are being haunted or hunted by a like a parasite energy version of the junk DNA. It's like self-betrayal. And that's why women sometimes would be freaking out in the 90s. But she needs to grow up and be like, whoa, 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 well, look, if you publish Colin, then the 1v1 immediate solutions for women's X chromosome will cause a revolution of the women. And Trey is guilty of restraining, for 3 years, he's retaining basically an enlightenment that is curative for women, but is it, so can Trey, how much of the identity theft can we allow Trey Parker to perform? And so between Trey and I, we'll figure that out. But that's actually the cure that I need you to put into the magic circle, Trey, because the problem is there is a genuine leak of yeah, a weird, like almost evil, but it's like a false pressure of reality, a false nature, a false everything, and it's an anti-god, and it's taken on the embodiment of COVID-19. We can defeat it if you produce Colin immediately. So get a boner for producing Colin Woodard, and I love you guys. I want you to know you haven't touched me the wrong way physically. You there's been a physical barrier of air cushion. Let's have a bro hug. Boom, nothing happened. We there has been no touching between us. Yeah. Hey, all this metaphysics though, really interesting, right? All right, so and I'm comfortable talking about it because this is my professional thing. And Trey is just like me. He understands this like a wizard. All right. Thank you guys so much. Everyone is helping out with anyone watching this. You're absolutely important to Earth and what is happening with society. It's just this next level shit where we got deadlights rose and there's little things floating around and the whole identity of Earth is changing. All right. So we have to have powerful production of the gatekeeper unmet. Then the entire triangle of humanity will become enlightened. But all you people who live on the Earth are like stranded in that triangle and only this one green perception. And you got to be civil because there's I'm the one anatomy of this type. I brought the entire fractal with me. So there's a bunch of real estate in my aura. And to work properly with me is for you to earn the physics, the factual evidence that you transcended your junk DNA, which is a protocol against working with the heavens dawn, because that's the correct creation model. And in the outer space, the UFOs are doing they're doing like a them versus God task where they're trying to find the truth. But it's just a bunch of, dead angels and corpses here. And that's the language of in America, as people are in a kind of like perpetual evidence sloop of like you know, addiction to pollution, misuse of plastics, and COVID-19, unfortunately, like, oh my God, no. Like okay, but the perfect clockwork of Earth is the precision super clockwork of the universe, and the evidence of the Ware map proves that the Earth has true love with humanity only. So that's a true love lock and bond, and we're not going to betray our children or our love. And that's basic science, guys. But it's a little humiliating to be like, we have to protect the family. But that's actually kind of okay. You have to understand. All right, all right. So, do you guys see the recent episode of The Simpsons? Oh my God. So what the first part, like Lisa's in love with an octopus. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And then, like, right when I put the keystone dot in here, right here, because she was talking about her boyfriend. She was talking about this guy. She was talking about like, oh, like I go into a dream space and you guys on the movie, you might have seen that the octopus was eaten by the shark that haunts our ghost lights. But the truth is, my boyfriend saved, it was only a detached tentacle. We just lost a tentacle instead of losing the whole thing. It's better to lose your tail than to lose your head. That's one of my Dragon King jokes, right? So this is like a technical firstborn angel of my enlightened incarnation type. As human, as American, right? So through like civil relations with Matt Grewing, um, I have a real sort of just like a it's a eternal thing that just continues to grow and it's really constructive right now. Like, but I think like Trey Parker is the opposite in that I've chewed off one of Trey Parker's ears, right, with the Wear map. And so the sort of overexposure or child celebrity syndrome survivor, Trey Parker, the Trey is a heavy hauler, whereas Matt Brewing is a gentle soul, and maybe Eric Hartman would say, "I had desired for Trey that you would secretly create him a honey glow soulstone and not tell us of your presence here on Earth and not be my friend, really." I don't think so. I don't think Eric Hartman, in his tenacity, is saying that line of bullshit. But you can understand how it's nice and gentle for Colin in the shadows to build a soul stone and to allow the Simpsons to go with their true love Honeyglow and, just natural, like zipping up the gown of your wife. It's intimate, it's beautiful, it works with it's a correct orientation. Anyway, our residency physics is actually targeted. The system of the down operates through junk DNA and is the false curvature of the orientation of Earth. Our society has a rot, a false intuition, causes men to make bad decisions, rape, and the reprisal of money, a humiliation to our infrastructure and cities, not appreciated. Crime is not going to pay. The real expression of freedom is the production of Colin Paul Woodard, and we produce Colin. We produce this revolution. We make this movies. That's the free revolution. That's a free loving revolution of mankind. Not this crime in the streets. That's not the expression of our freedoms. You understand? There's a very American identity here, and we have to pivot on that. All right. The maturity for ozone replenishment in entirety requires the ozone pup. He's a character, he's an icon, like Mickey Mouse. Our friends Mickey Mouse and the Simpsons, they're helping us learn about icon physics and where it's getting bit. And I work with those guys about solutions for the different body types. In fact, various types of anatomy is my expertise. Creating the adaptation of alternate and anatomical creatures on the fetal line solution deck is what I've been working with, but it takes time. And there's someone responsible for those things at the end of the line. So that means any of these angels I'm talking about is someone who's doing the best they can. So my power is basically people, working together. But the humanity has a unilateral accent where they're squiggly spooched and they're junk DNA against this lone wolf character because they didn't understand the language. That's why they're like polluting in a zomboid. So I've been working to break the hypnotics that Trey Parker was under and to awaken them to the true identity of Earth and humanity. That is the true communication and the result and the love between us today. For this wizard circle and the Atriarch of Alanon, welcome home. You guys, you did it. A plus plus. You guys did perfect design. You're understanding everything I'm saying. And that is the task today, is to understand each other, and we're going to work together, and we're going to keep the Earth, we're going to defend it, and we're going to defeat invasion and extinction before it even happens. That's the greatest leverage we have, and the opportunity of our superposition in reality. So we're moving forward. There's like there's like a gaposis in like 100 years where we're really changing things right now, just with a fantastic understanding of what we need to do in the initiative of work for every day. All right. So that Simpsons episode really, oh my gosh, I sent you, Trey, I sent you that tweet about the Simpsons and the Murray, and I want you to take I want you to make this magic talisman because you need to break there's a larger form where so these Republicans think that they're chewing on the real danger cud. No, they're ripping off a divine potence. That's not digestion of the problem, but the misplacement of my leadership. That's the problem with it, producing Colin could be a potential absconding of his like energy boon, like because he's very masculine. He's very like, "Rah!" And then like what so the Republicans are going to take that and but it's so ridiculous because we'll see it like in the next year there'll be media, there'll be video games, there's going to be different types of things happening and it's all going to be the signature of like a type of impression of Colin Woodard's startup company with Hatch and Millie and the Halloween twins, the robot wolf and the Alicorn stallion, all these characters. Right, I'm asking you guys to produce that show, but I want you to put down in the microchip now and make a dot and fill it in, and that'll be the metaphysics hyperchip, more powerful than the UFO hypnodrone, and it's going to be curing for this global inoculation. We're going to defeat COVID-19, we're going to defeat the environmental crisis, and we're going to parent and raise up the most advanced family in the universe. Welcome home. Merry Christmas. We were completely successful with our surprise party for Matt Grewing and uh, the Soul Stone doing something good for someone else. It's it's a lot of work, but it sort of feels good. Um, anyway, it goes through the right methods. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, anyway, so this episode, like even the dog had said something like he performed a little note. Like there's like this little trum. Do you see the note? Like the dogs had like a little riff and I'm like, dude, this is the microchip that I've been working on and all of my friends are helping and it's a big surprise party for these guys because they've done a hell of a job to bring some family median, and it's a servant to that vacuum, and so it's really a progressive evolution that we work together today. But I need Trey to be really, I'd actually need you to design something, a certain metaphysics device, like an amphitheater, some type of colossus instrument, pop, and destroy the evil in identity theft, curvature from the spine of man. Remove it from them. Kill the wrong interpretation. Don't feed from him that way. He's not some impersonation of himself. He's the original. The fever of mankind is broken. I want you to make a device so that what you've done, Trey, in the past 3 years is the correct thing to do, and proving that Trey is a master of his life and himself. That the absorbent censorship for the past 3 years is correct because we were developing autoimmune system immunity. We were figuring things out. And now, and after you finish this magical talisman, you will be ready to produce Colin Woodard in all ways. All right. Thank you so much, Trey. So it really was this important for us to, I believe Trey actually saw, he was like, yeah, I get that. Like this, because the characters were kind of talking about the special services that they were getting from the side of the gatekeeper. And I'm the green perception kingdom castle maker, so I can make a heaven that actually is a static constant like the armor cape god. And that serves the Simpsons, and that gives people hope. So they're able to, and so through the tabernacle, people have a little like wizard treasure karmic exchange talisman with they have wealth in the Simpsons. So the Simpsons themselves have become a golden strand of earth and inheritance. So people have peace, they have calm, they know to love their family. Here we go. So I could barely believe it when Bart Simpson tore the drinking fountain off the wall. I was like, this amount of animation and passion from this character Bart this is the first time I've ever seen it, and I'm very sure it was because of his unicorn horn wife. She has magic, but that's just in the previous episode. Bart had uh, hit Lisa in the forehead with a suction cup thing that made it look like she had a unicorn's horn on. I was like, oh, there's the unicorn horn thing. That's my thing with the pineal gland patch thing, and I'm doing it through The Simpsons. And that's for a human glow, and so it's a real thing. It's not designed through. Uh, it's not an insect grade, so it's not converting people's love into honey, which becomes an attract. It attracts like you know, it attracts other problems. So it actually doesn't treat people like a consumer. It treats people like an individual. All right. So it's really some clever. Okay. Anyway, and it equates the meditation of us all. But for this to become conscious, Trey Parker must produce Colin Paul Woodard, become family. I'm asking Trey and Matt and all of you at South Park to put me under your wing and make this production, this family glow of Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries come to life. You know, it's like the rest of humanity can't see it. It's painful. They're like, why, and they're upset, and that makes Trey have a weird identity complex because he's like, people are upset because of this. But the solution, you guys, is you need to accept that Trey is the Messiah through the Wear Map, and that you need to support him to produce Colin. That's what you like. That's like what you need to do. And thank you guys for understanding, even though, I'm intentionally being with my language. It's too blunt with the language. Well, can we have more explaining about why? No, no, dude, you need to understand yourself and like totally produce Colin because The Simpsons told you so. Do you guys remember that part when the Homer was looking at the wall and going like, "Oh yeah, Lisa's friend." That's because people were down on me for allowing these guys to have anatomy. Like the guys from the '70s or the Batman who had no junk are think that I'm doing something bad. These characters are like, no, this guy is allowing us to breathe in a toxic environment because the humans are being asphyxiated. And so it's closing in, and the collapsers of structures around me are like, we want to attack Colin. And that's actually the reverse of nature and reality of what you should be urging. You should be desiring to produce Colin Woodard and work with him, partner full time. Let's give Colin millions of dollars so he can produce ozone and have a relationship with humanity. It's an investment and it's going to give you a profit. Talking about business with a contract that allows you to receive total revenue for your investment in my company. Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries worldwide. All right. Technical tape there's. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, Trey. For the wear map, you are the warrior of mankind. I'm giving you the sequence of the update, state of the art, continuous, heaven's dawn information will stream directly to your unicorn's horn and to your eyes. The information of Earth True is the first king planet, the supercomputer. The truth will be revealed to you in the sequence of your life as you move forward. Our most trusted resource for Heaven's Dawn and the emergency resource, the Wear Map, is a dedication of 1,000,000 years, a satellite dish, a very expensive installation. The arm of Cape Cod is the divine language of script forcing the gatekeeper to connect to Trey Parker was the expensive hope of mankind, hoping from the other side to cause the production for the free speech and the free will election of the America for Colin Woodard requires multi-million-dollar production. Because of his incarnation, the adaptation of a producer is required. It does make sense for Colin to have a producer, and we're not expecting Colin the Mandelbrot incarnate to work at a gas station so that he can prove that he is a American. Welcome home, you guys. Thank you for being the immunity for mankind. We're getting to know each other. It's a crash course. Trey Parker, you're number one. Heaven's hope. Producing Hatch as soon as earthly possible. It's going to give you all the solutions that you need in every other department. But I know that you're in Squinknod because of the headlines for Bill Murray. That's your scaffolding tray. He's your crush. And anyway, on historically speaking, in in the story of Trey Parker, we know that he likes his friend Bill Murray, right? So it's sort of signative to identity and the babble of babies. This is how the psychic child from the future explains, like a child, like, oh, it's written out there in language he can understand. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's false. And that you have to trust yourself, Trey. Trust your newly forming intuition. Eric Hartman is leading a revolution of the icons of Earth, performing procedural Carmens that even Walt Disney Mickey Mouse could not provide because of the strictening of his professional suit. Eric Hartman is a warrior for the revolution of mankind, both on the art world and for the living people on Earth, as stabilized through the fractal, and is a digestive reward that will occur on the lee of the stone. After the Simpsons microchip completes its full rendering for Mac Ruing, we will have a concise green, blue, brown societal enzyme to stabilize the fever of mankind, to eliminate the need for social executions, as we're seeing with Johnny Depp to Bill Murray. We're going to sever it here, and it's going to protect Bill Murray. We're going to cool that fever, but we're rounding up. We're rounding up. Don't crash the plane, Trey. Don't crash the plane. Produce Colin Woodard immediately. That's the solution. No more procrastination. This is the adult choice. Perfect bullseye, Julius C. wins Barnard. We have the precision plan for Hatch and Millie's Master Injuries, the production. I need you guys to write up the contracts and be my producer. Trey, I need you to be my family on that, okay? Thank you guys. I'm working with the Earth True, the fractal, and I'm reconfiguring the the vitals so that Earth can provide the completion for the physics of the rest of the universe, so that there's hope again, and that's so that there's so that we can defeat the black hole decay. It's an actual sickness. The universe is struggling to breathe properly. All right, so that's why humanity is so zen because they're very a real object. Here's the curvature. You can transcend it manually on paper. So put into the microchip your ability to transcend that because we're going post-human. Well, even though it's kind of beyond Trey's maybe working description because he's already a very achieved gentleman of American uh, communication industry. Okay, this is a one-of-a-kind account of where you need to understand to take on the burden of Colin Woodard's production and take on like a celebrity contract with him. All right. And thank you guys because you need to be the invention of making it happen because I am not an inappropriate or Momo Clancy. I'm not the inappropriate method. Do you understand? I do not use the wrong encouragement towards Trey. I haven't given him the false promise. In fact, he's received hell from me. And his only reward from his recovering evidence of crashoids is karma. I do not escape his reality. I sharpen the reality, and it hurts bad. That doesn't mean censor Colin. It means you do need to produce. You need to produce Colin. Please, you guys. Holy shit! I can sense the phantom of your inactions. Don't let anything prevent this production. It's vital for us to defeat extinction. COVID-19 itself is working against extinction. You guys need to be men who work against extinction through producing Colin Woodard with your money spending. Of course, God puts the solution right where you can find it. Because it's just proving that humans aren't psychic. You need to be a real producer now and prove that you're not broken. Produce Colin Woodard and protect Bill Murray. Also, basically, I'm going to use this microchip that Trey is making. I'm going to use it in the flat dimension to prevent the Republicans and other warmongering nations from taking the wrong cue, the wrong masculine prompt. Okay, so Trey is going to create the correct maturity of a masculine interface between the wild human and the gatekeeper unmet. So now we have a cure for racism because of Trey Parker, because of his handmade authorship. So I want you to make that talisman tray and put into it any types of configurations that your heart desires, anything that you think would be important or successful. Armor up, Trey Parker. Producing Colin Woodard is the hope of the entire universe. Trey Parker, the creation is in your hand.